It was time for the monthly Clifton comic book show. I was there. I picked up a few books. Let's just cut to the chase. Let's take a look at what I grabbed. Up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hello, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. And before we get started, like, comment, subscribe. Check the description for Instagram, whatnot, eBay, email, different ways to contact me. And, you can, send me an email, whatever. I'd like to talk about when I go to shows or I get collections, my 4 S's. And that's save, spec, slab, sell. So I'm going to go through these books and just do a quick, which of the 4. Save, I want to put in my personal collection. Spec, it's a spec book. We'll see if the property or the character spikes because of news in the entertainment world, movie or TV series going forward. Slab, I think it's high enough grade to get it graded. And for the most part, especially with modern books, you're looking at 9/8 or close to it for other big keys. And then sell books that I got at a good price and I think people on my Whatnot show would be interested in. So let's take a look. So the first place I went was, and actually it's kind of a sell pile, but not really. It's a sell adjacent. I went to Zap Comics. They're there every month. And they had really nice wall books. A couple that I was considering, like one I'll talk about as I'm going through these books. He had $2 bins and $5 bins. So I went into the $2 bins. I got Oblivion Song #1. This was a hot book at one time. It no longer is. Jake Gyllenhaal was attached to maybe this being developed. So for a couple bucks, throw that in the spec pile. Where am I going to put my specs? I got a few of these DC Millennium issues, reprints. This is a reprint of Young Romance #1. Simon and Kirby create the romance comic. I'm pretty sure I have this in the PC, but anyway, I like to use these reprints as giveaways on my Whatnot show because they're great reads. So that's kind of go in the sell adjacent pile, but it's actually going to go in the freebie pile. And that I'm going to save up. Police Comics #1. This just came out in a facsimile. First appearance of Plastic Man, as well as Phantom Lady, The Human Bomb, Firebrand, and The Mouthpiece. That's old-timey speak for a lawyer. I don't know if it's specifically like a criminal defense attorney, but there was 1932, William Powell did a movie called The Mouthpiece where he was a lawyer for the mob. I picked up a couple of these romance books. Not mid-grade. DC Young Love #122. I think that's from 1976. And Heartthrobs #131. This is a 15-center. It is missing this piece out here. Other than that, it's not bad. I grabbed Wonder Man #1 with this Bill Sienkiewicz cover. The series is coming out. Throw that in a spec pile. Wolverine '67. This is the second appearance of Old Man Logan, who we saw briefly. Maybe, kind of, probably, I don't know, sort of, in the Deadpool Wolverine movie. And this is also the first appearance of Spider-Bitch. Uncanny X-Men 167 and 197 with this great Doctor Doom cover. If I don't say anything, it's just drop it into the sell pile. Wiz Comics #1 Millennium Edition. This is a great read. First appearance of Captain Marvel, as well as Ibis and Spy Smasher. First issue special #5 by Jack Kirby. This is the first appearance of the Mark Shaw Manhunter. I'm going to throw that in the spec pile. I do have this sneaking suspicion that I think the Manhunters are going to be somehow involved in the Lanterns TV series. Because in the comic books, DC had created it that the Manhunters were the predecessors. They were basically androids that the Guardians of the Universe had created to fight crime, and then when they went kind of rogue, they had to employ sentient beings and created the Green Lantern Corps. Flash, number 350, the final issue. Then I picked up, and I haven't been picking up the series, but I got it for less than cover price, Geiger's 2, 3, and 4, and Redcoat 4. So I'm going to put those in my save pile. Those will go in the PC, and I'll read them at some point in time. This does have a little, it does have a stain on it, on his face. This is Gunsmoke. What's the issue number? I should put that on the cover because Dell did not do that for us. This, I think, is from 1960. And it is a Gunsmoke, for those youngsters out there, was a TV series. It was at one point in time the longest running TV series on television. But now that's kind of, it ran for over 20 years. And it actually had its initial life on radio. Then it became a TV show. And this is James Arness, who is the star of Gunsmoke and the brother of Peter Graves. I think Peter Graves' brother, right? But this is issue number 19. So, yeah, I'm in 2 weeks, or actually, yeah, in 2 weeks on Whatnot, I'm doing a Western sale. So I do have a bunch of them, and you know, when I was going through $2 bins, I'm like, if I find any Westerns, let me grab them. Another Millennium Edition. This is the first time that Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil work on a Batman story. Then I had somebody in my Whatnot show asking about Killraven, War of the Worlds. These are in pretty decent shape, like in the 8.5 range. All of them seem to have this top corner crunch, number 27, Amazing Adventures. Number 26. 25, and this is weird. The Grudge Match of the 21st Century. This is from the 1970s, even though we're in the 21st century now. When this book came out, it was still the 20th century. Death Stalks the Indianapolis 500. So I guess there's a futuristic race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Number 37, 36, 34, sorry, and 33. And then I also grabbed for the $2 pie. It's a little bit lower grade, but another Western book. It's Showcase number 76. This is the first appearance of Batlash. Kind of a comedic take on the Western genre, which was something that DC was doing in Showcase at the time. I think I mentioned that in my video from the other day. And then he also had a $5 pile. I kind of bundled, gave me a little bit of a deal. Marvel Premiere number 18, early Iron Fist appearance, and this is the conclusion of his origin story. Lobo number 1, his first self-titled series. This will go in the spec pile. We haven't heard much about Jason Momoa lately. I grabbed this. This is like a, I don't know, maybe like a 7, even a 7.5. It does have a little thing there. This is Marvel Tales number 12, which recreates that classic John Romita cover of Amazing Spider-Man 39. And it also has backup tales with the Human Torch, Thor, and the Wonderful Wasp. So these were reprint books that Marvel put out in the late 60s of stories from the early 60s. This is really nice shape. It's square bound, 25 centers. So that's pretty cool. Mark Spector, Moon Knight number 58, just with this classic Stephen Platt artwork. This, and I was really drawn to the cover. I think this is Neil Adams, I'm pretty sure. Checks notes. It is indeed cover artist Neil Adams, yeah. It is Phantom Stranger number 15. So I really like that cover. I don't know what that story's about. Phantom Stranger at this point in time was kind of just it was introducing the horror stories at the time. Now this is Amazing Spider-Man 253, first appearance of the Rose, the son of Kingpin, in a newsstand. Very sharp copy. I think that I don't have any others yet. That's going in the to grade pile. Superboy 145. I've had this book a couple times. Neil Adams cover, and a goofball story in which, like, a passing comet causes Ma and Pa Kent to youthen in appearance. This is, Silver Age book. When the Superboy was the adventures of Superman as a boy, it did not prevent them from dying early. They were still dead in the Silver and Bronze Age by the time that Superboy became Superman, so it didn't help them. But, like, I remember in the Legion stories I was reading in the 70s, they were younger, and then you'd read the reprints, and they'd be older. And it was kind of weird. I don't know why they youthened them necessarily. Maybe it was just like a 60s thing, and they wanted them to be young and hip. This is a title that I pick up when I see it, and I thought it was pretty cool. I had gotten all the archives. There was a reprint series. There was a reboot. But this is Thunder Agents. Number 3. This is by Tower Comics in 1966. And it was a superhero team created by Wally Wood. That's a really awesome cover. I don't know if Wood did the cover or not. But, yeah. And it's been a while since I've read these stories, so I don't remember all the particulars of the characters. But, yeah, it doesn't have credits in there. But that's going into the PC. Yes, it is. Then I picked up, this is a pretty nice copy of Justice League of America 101. This came out the month before I started collecting Justice League of America, so this was the second of a 3-part story leading into my favorite comic in Justice League 102, where the Justice League and the Justice Society have to rescue the members of the Seven Soldiers of Victory. So when I was a kid, I only had the 3rd part, and I didn't know until I got to a show when I was about 12, after picking the book up at like age 6. I was almost 6. I think it was just shy of 6. I don't know what the heck happened. Like, what happened in the other 2 parts? How did we get to this place? So that's going in the PC. I think that might be an upgrade, as was this. This is a 100-page super spectacular. The 100-pagers ran for, I think it was 7 issues, 110 to 116 in Justice League. 110 is the second appearance of John Stewart. This is the first appearance of Libra, who didn't appear again until... what was it? Until about 2009. But any rate, this is a pretty nice copy. It's like an 8.0. And what these Justice League stories, and this was pretty much standard for the DC 100-pagers at the time, and I love these. And I'm collecting all of them. I already have this. I have my childhood copy that's probably like a 2.0. They'd have a new story and then a couple of reprints. And they'd usually have a Justice Society reprint and a Silver Age Justice League reprint. But this time they did a Seven Soldiers of Victory reprint from Leading Comics number 2, which Zap Comics had a Leading Comics number 2 on their wall. I think it was Zap that had them. I already have the entire run, so I was thinking, part of my brain was saying, maybe you should upgrade, Jim, but I held off on that idea, and I moved on. So that was the haul from Zap. Then I went to Steve with Elite Comic Sales, and I picked out a few books. This is a book I showed in Sunday's video. It's Invasion, number 1. The DC crossover from 1989, I believe this is. It's an 80-page square bound, and I talked about how much of an underappreciated this book this is if you didn't see the video. And I'll be quick, because if you did, I'm going to bore you. But this, I think, is underappreciated because it's, like, I got it for $5, right? It's a $5-10 book. There are only a handful that have ever been graded, despite the fact that it's a black cover square bound. But the key significance of this is it's Todd McFarlane cover. And not only is it a Todd McFarlane cover, but the interior art is in 80 pages, no ads, entirely Todd McFarlane art. And if you look back at Sunday's video, we flipped through it. I showed you some of the characters. I think what hurts this book is probably the fact that there's not a known character on the cover. If he had drawn it with like Superman and Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, whatever, maybe was more popular. And it's hard to identify that this is a McFarlane book necessarily because there's no webbing and no eyebrows. So, yeah, that's a cool little book. Then I grabbed this, and now I only need one more to complete the collection. I don't know if I didn't get this at the time when it came out, or it's just like mixed up somewhere in my sorting of my collection. Simpson Comics number 26 from 1996. Now I think I just need like 122. There's one more issue. So that is a PC book, because I picked the Simpsons up from the start. I also picked up this. This is another reprint book from the 70s, 4-star spectacular. It ran for 6 issues. This is a final issue. And I guess the 4 stars here are Superboy, Krypto, Blackhawk, and Wonder Woman. Superboy, I think, was the lead in all 6 issues on the reprints. This, I thought, was a pretty good deal. And part of the reason I got it is, well, it's Deadpool number 1. This predates Circle Chase? I'm not sure. But I had 2 copies of this in the recent collection that were both really minty. So I'm going to send those out. And then, so I had issues 2, 3, and 4 that I was going to sell, and I just wanted one to join it so I can... I'm not going to sell all 4 together necessarily, but that was pretty cool. And then I picked this up, and this is a pretty nice copy. I think it has a potential, does need a press to maybe get a 9.8. And I had just sold this in a 9.8 for, I think I sold it for $100. It is a $125 book in a 9.8 because it's a newsstand Star Trek. This is the first DC issue, and it is a George Perez cover. So that is going into the slab pile. This is also going in the spec pile. It's Brave New World number 1, the first appearance of Ryan Choi, the third Atom. He was not as Atom, but he was in the Snyder cut of the Justice League movie. Didn't work out for him, and I've told the story on the channel before. I picked this book up several, I don't know, I probably have like 10 or so copies of this at least. And every time I pick it up, I talk about the first appearance of Ryan Choi. And then, because they're always listening, Facebook said, you may be friends with, or however they suggest friends to you. They suggested somebody named Ryan Choi as a Facebook friend, and we have no mutual friends. Then I picked this up. This is a classic cover. Again, if you've seen my most recent video from Streetside Anthony's, I picked up about 10 issues of this series because I stopped collecting. I only got like just under half the run. It's Batman Gotham Adventures. This is issue number 50 with this great Batman Catwoman cover. This is going in the PC. There were 60 issues of the series, so now I'm kind of on the hunt to track that down. That's kind of, stuck in my craw that I want to get my Batman Gotham Adventures run. And then I picked up a Golden Age book. Now, May 1946. People ask me, why May 1946? Is that when you were born? I'm not that old. I'm old, but I'm not that old. So I picked this up with a guy that always has Golden Age books, right? So I said, let me see if I can find a May 1946 book. I usually grab maybe one from him at a show. If I can find one. And it's always, that's kind of the fun of the hunt, is to kind of dig through the Golden Age boxes to see if I can find one of these that I need. And I usually can get them in pretty decent shape. My May 1946 books, I would say the median grade on those is probably about a 6. Maybe even 6.5 or 7. I've been getting some really nice copies. This is probably, I would think of it as 6.5. It could use a press. The spine is really nice. But this is from Fox. It's All Good Comics. From 1946. It has a spring cover date, which the books that came out on a quarterly basis would have the seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall. So anything that has spring and it's a 1946 book, I'm grabbing as part of the May 46 collection, because this would have been on the stands with all the other all the rest of them. And you see, we have the adventures of the Joy family and Rick Evans. Rick Evans is like, I don't know, spaceman, future. He's in the land of the Snake Men. these are always fun to read. And again, this is a pretty nice copy. So for, a book from 1946 that's 78 years old at this point, it's always kind of fun to pick up. I had just gotten the All Great. Now I got the All Good. Those are both by Fox, and they're like 3 different All Goods in the Golden Age. Not all by Fox. One of them definitely wasn't. I'm not sure about the other. So that's going in the PC, but that's going in the 1946 pile, which I have separate. So that's it for the haul from Clifton. It was a pretty well-attended show, but everybody started leaving about noon because it's the first Sunday of the NFL season, so everybody wanted to go home and watch the Giants lose. So anyway, let me know what you think about the comics that I picked up. Is there anything that interests you? And again, I like to focus on, I'm kind of more focusing on like the quirky stuff that I'm finding. It's great to find a Deadpool 1, but underappreciated books, or books that you don't normally see, or books that just mean something to me, like those Justice Leagues. So you can leave a comment down below. I would appreciate that. And you can take a look at a couple of my other videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.